What is good? What is good? Welcome to another episode of What About with your boys, Pat and Andy. How you doing? Every week, we're still trying to figure out how the fuck to intro this. It never sounds smooth. But anyway, I'm excited. I'm excited to do this show every week, or every other week or so, whatever it ends up being.
Yeah, you were talking about that earlier. I was talking about your little promo thing that you did, the little miniature video commercial that you did about just reminding everybody what we're doing, what we're talking about, and stuff like that. But I think every other week is pretty consistent with us.
It's at least minimum every other week.
Yeah, I can say confidently every other week
Yeah.
on Andy's Twitch, and then not soon after on YouTube. You can catch What About with Andy and Pat, and then not soon after that, probably about Monday afternoon on Baby Mermaid Productions, because I have a playlist there that leads you to all the same videos. So if you can't find it at Andy's page, you can find it at mine. And you know what? That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's for an intro.
Wait, say that again?
I said, how about that for a fucking intro?
That was way better. You know what? You should start these fucking things off over me, God damn it.
What about with Andy and Pat?
Oh, and he's humble enough to keep my name first. That's what a good guy. What a good guy you are, dude.
I almost always go alphabetically, and that's to be totally true. But honestly, this is your stream. This is your house. This is your dojo. I respect you. I took my shoes off before I came in.
You took your shoes off before getting in the Zoom?
I also ate quesadillas too, so I am fucking feeling nice.
Oh, ripping some good farts.
Oh my God. I have 5 new farts in the bank right now. I got to just edit them and they'll be ready for the show.
Oh, the new ones are almost ready to be released?
They're almost ready to be released, yeah. Really good ones. I have one labeled right now, Andy. Best fart.
There's a shortage, though, like PS5s. Everyone's checking Walmart.com every 3 days to see if there's any new farts in.
They're going double on like eBay and stuff like that, but
but they're double the price, half as smelly. So as you guys know, if you watch this every other week that we post it, we asked the question the week before. I was asking Pat was asking me what about leftover crack, and then I decided to shift it up a little bit, and I wanted to ask Pat, what about Rise or Die Trying by 4 Year Strong? Pat, you had never heard of this band?
No. Okay. So I feel like, first of all, that was the thing. I've heard of 4 Years Strong, but I just heard it wrong.
You've heard the way English is spoken.
Yeah. If you ever heard, if you asked me to write it down, that's how I would have wrote it. So I was not familiar by any means with them. And none of the songs even sounded familiar when I was listening to the album, stuff like that. None of them sounded familiar, but I definitely, I liked it. It was good.
Nice. And before I give my response, shout out to Caleb in the chat. He asked, "Who is this? Your dad?" No, he is and this is a throwback that only Pat will get. He is a good friend, Pat George. Good. You know this, Caleb. You're being a goddamn little troll. Knock it off. Where's the camera? Anyway,
they call me a ginger, and that's weird because, like, compared to you,
who calls you a ginger?
I feel like somebody called me a ginger. Who do you call me? Who's the guy from Ed Kemper? One of your Brits in the chat called me Ginger Ed Kemper when I just had the mustache, and then I wore a Hawaiian shirt, and then they called me the guy from. They're always just pounding off about what famous, wonderful person I am. And honestly,
pounding off in the chat,
baby.
That's how much they like watching my fucking streams. Yeah, no, I picked this album because I had it was one of those albums that for me growing up being like really into pop punk, really into pop punk. We talked about before talking about kind of with Taking Back Sunday being more emo and Sum 41 being one of the like the OG pop punk bands and stuff.
Yeah,
but 4 Year Strong was cool to me because it the whole time listening to music, I've always been into like punk seems too general because everyone's into punk. But for me, it was more so like pop punk and punk. And the harder stuff, but like pop punk, metalcore, which always felt like the punk rock of metal. And then
you like the fractions and music. You like the subgenres, the hyphenated stuff.
Yeah. I like. But if you sometimes when I listen to more technical metal, if I'm around anyone calling that mathcore, I get the fuck out of that room. We're not. It's prog rock. It's just prog metal or prog rock. We don't need to be doing this mathcore just so you can feel better than other people.
Get me the fuck out of here. Out of the way. I'm fucking over this shit.
Say again.
I just that like I think you'd be fed up with like I don't like a lot of the hyphenated stuff a lot of times, but I get understanding when somebody calls something when for some reason there is always that douche genre for somebody, and to me it's I feel like I really hate yacht rock. I don't like that.
Oh yeah, yacht rock. What is that even?
It's I think it's like a.
Isn't yacht rock just yacht rock's basically like soft rock that doesn't suck? That's like basically whenever, because anytime I've heard yacht rock, I'm like, this is basically just soft rock, but enjoyable with like a little bit more musicality than just I'm a step up above some fucking elevator music or some shit.
Yeah, it's essentially it's an elevator music played on a yacht.
They're like, oh, this is the music you listen to while you burn hookers with cigarettes. That's actually what it is.
I was gonna say, I cannot identify with the yacht rock at all. That's probably why. Even any we were listening to Selena the other night in the attic. Me and Dom were up here playing. Me and Dom were listening to Selena.
You guys just practicing the pinchata or whatever.
Yeah, we were just
doing that dance where you run back and forth.
Oh, please enjoy Selena. And I just kept doing like a DJ voice, but I was just like, we were listening to that, and I was just like, even she was like, oh yeah, I recognize some of these songs, and I was like, oh yeah, I know this one. Like even with that lane and that genre, I still know who that was. She was very popular. I understand worldwide, but like, there's definitely some country music makes it on my playlist. You know what I mean? Like,
there's things of every genre that fucking hits.
But
you know what I mean? Like every genre there is, even the shittiest genres you could name, there's always going to be that one or two bands that you're like, oh, I wasn't ready to feel something.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing is like, I don't know. I can't identify with this at all because I have never been on a yacht. I've never been on a yacht. I've lived next to a couple quinceañeras before.
Oh, I've been parallel to a quinceañera, no doubt.
Oh yeah, I've been an eye shot of a fucking quinceañera many a time, friend.
Shut up. Let's specify what that means.
I mean, like I've seen them from my window, like my kitchen or something. Like they're my neighbors.
Still, seeing a quinceañera from a window shot up. You're just.
Oh yeah. See, I don't like that. Yeah.
Okay. I've watched a few quinceañeras from a bell tower. Is what you're trying to say?
I had a couple addresses on a list. Sure, whatever. No, I've never done that. I've literally had metal. I voted that we stopped practice one time in this metal band I was in because the garage we were playing in literally was next door to a little girl's fucking quinceañera. And I was just like, we need to, like, we're ruining our fucking day. We need to stop.
You're like,
they kicked me out of the metal band not long after that, but I was just like, hey guys, we're ruining her special day.
It's literally the least metal thing you could do.
We're ruining her quinceañera. Stop it.
It's fucking not wanting to ruin the quinceañera with your chunky riffs.
Honestly, though, it was the fact that we only really had one song and we just played it nonstop for hours. And I was like, we should probably just work on other songs or stop playing.
I feel like you should have turned to the drummer and just been like, guys, let's liven it up for them. And then the drummer just goes from double bass to just like boom, da boom, da boom, da boom.
Do you want to know what we did next, Andy?
Please.
I started playing boom, 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 boom. I started playing like a fucking, like just like a weird, I don't know salsa. Obviously, again, I don't know the music or anything like that. But I was just like, is it like this? Is this how you play it? I was just like, I don't know. I was trying to play because they had their music so loud to try to drown us out that I could almost feel the bass from, and I was standing next to a fucking bass amp and cab. Like I was like, it's almost.
Oh wait, they were drowning you guys out.
They were trying to drown because they're like, please stop. They didn't ask us. They did not ask us. By the way, they did not ask us. But
they didn't come over to be like.
I think they're. They want us to stop,
Yeah.
please. They're asking us to stop, but they probably don't. They're probably terrified. So,
I don't know though. I can't even imagine like I can't imagine any metal band beating the subwoofer at a quinceanera at all. There's no way you would. I can't imagine you guys winning to that.
not next door. Maybe across the street, but not next door.
No, not at all. Oh, shout out Hawaiian has entered the chat. He said sorry for being late. That's okay, buddy. Fucking, we're here all night, baby. And he said Pat is a gorgeous man. Math metal is real, Andy. I know it's real. I just don't want to hear the words together.
I like prog rock, but prog rock is a broad term, and that can like a lot of times that'll get a lot of bands kind of mixed in there. But I did have a question for you because and
Oh, we gotta bring this back to 4 Year Strong at some point.
That's actually great because my question is, Andy, what about 4 Year Strong is it that made you pick this album?
This album specifically,
Follow up, Andy. I wasn't
What?
done. I wasn't done.
Oh, sorry.
Follow up. What genre do you consider 4 Years Strong? I hate saying that name.
I'm so happy you said that because that actually that actually is a interesting factor in this album and like why this album in the content. I'm doing fucking squid arms or some shit. And I listening to this, I did walk like an Egyptian. And
if that was synced up at all, you got it. That's the clip.
Us together. That's the fucking clip, baby. No, in the conversation of like genres and in the world of, because it's always a funny thing, bands like this, me and my friends who like listen to bands like this and stuff will always be like, oh yeah, they blew up off this song, which means they got to fucking number 54 on the Billboard Heat Seekers chart. You know what I mean? Like in the world of like pop punk hardcore bands that, you know, don't even get that big, like they blew up. But the part of them that sort of got them their initial big push of popularity, and they did get decently big, like if you look at their music videos on YouTube from when they were their biggest, you know, they're all averaging like 1 to 2 million views and stuff, so they got decently big. But it was because they sort of ushered in this new genre that was they deemed it easycore.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. So this brings it back to the whole like overly specifying genre titles.
I was gonna call it. Fuck. What was I gonna call? Fuck. It was almost like it was pop metal, I would say. That's how I was gonna say it was, but would you say easycore?
Easycore, because if you like listen to it, because
like yacht rock.
Everything's actually yacht rock.
Yeah, everything's yacht rock, actually.
Yeah, our metal music was drowning out a yacht rock themed quinceanera.
Really kind of just a spectrum of yacht rock from soft to hard.
Every genre is a different type of yacht rock.
Yeah, I found out. I think there's easycore is a weird. Can I guess a couple bands? Do you know any other bands that call themselves that?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So can I? There is this band in particular, or this album at least in particular, reminded me of a band called. Have you ever heard of the Fully Down? It sounds like an insult.
No, I mean, I know people who are fully downed, but
yeah.
Is that what you asked?
No, they're actually. I never realized how funny that name was. Actually, until just now. I even wrote it down and I didn't realize it until I just said it.
You've never made a Down syndrome joke in relationship to that band?
No, never.
Jesus, Pat.
Just not to right yonder.
Not till this very moment.
I'm gonna share a link in the chat because I got it open on my thing here. On my phone thing. And I'm gonna.
Have you heard of these cellular phones?
Yeah. So it's I got unlimited. No big deal. Anyway.
Brag much?
Anyway, either way. But that's the Fully Down. That's their my favorite song by them. And I got to see them once. They opened up for I think it was Norma Jean on this weird they're on some weird Nike tour or something like that.
Okay.
this band, 4 Years Strong, or this album at least, reminded me of that band. And
Okay, I'll have to
I
check
don't
them
know if
out.
you would consider them also easycore. Also, Seosin, does Seosin consider, are they easycore?
No, isn't Seo? Doesn't Seosin? Aren't they kind of like Circus Survive almost?
Yeah, well, they did have the lead singer. They're like, I know it sounds weird to say that no, they don't sound like them because they did have the lead singer, but not really. After he left, not really.
Oh yeah, he left. He left Seosin to start Circa, right?
Wait, what? Why no? What did I do?
Oh no, Hawaii. Because he's probably saying no, they're definitely not easy core. No,
Oh,
easy core was easy core is basically the melding of melding. Is that even a fucking word?
I
It's
like it.
like it's meshing together pop punk and like hardcore. Exactly. That right there. That right there. It was like the meshing of something pop. You probably was something tasty, but you did something hardcore and gross and burp. So
Quesadillas and seltzer. You're absolutely right.
that
Yeah.
right there, that right there was a easy core burp. And yeah, no, so it's basically like pop punk and hardcore where you have the elements of hardcore of like you can hear it in the drumming a lot. The drumming on
Yeah.
this album, it's not like your traditional sort of
The second song was fucking sick. The second song starting at, or no, sorry, the third, whatever, the one that starts out with the drums, like
yeah, with
the,
the like brum brum brum,
yeah,
and
that
then
one.
like the guitar comes in
Sounds
like
like a gallop. It almost sounds like a horse galloping, but like with
yeah.
is that just the bass drum? Do you think, or do you think
No,
it's
no, he's I think he's going like dum with the bass, and then he's hitting the floor tom.
like, yeah, it sounds like a gallop though. Like
Well,
it's
so
cool because you hear that in a lot of times in like the guitar in metal songs, like dun 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 dun, dun, like, but like to hear that just flat, just that starting out a song, it sounds really fucking cool. I think.
yeah, and you can hear it on this album with like, did the part that I really like about this that really stuck out to me is because like I said, I always love listening to pop punk, but the thing about pop punk is like I identified with sort of the general emotion of it, but you never like you've never 9 times out of 10 unless it's like a Travis Barker drum part. But if we sort of like exclude Travis Barker's drumming, like you've never listened to a pop punk song and just been like, how the fuck did they do that?
Yeah, never.
Not
It's always been like, oh yeah, that Phil. I know that Phil. Yeah,
yeah.
I know that Phil.
Like da, 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 da. You know, it's like oh, they did that thing that means pop punk and it's fun. But it's like the music's fun. You like the emotion. There's good lyrics. It's really catchy and poppy. It's more about like an emotion thing than necessarily like holy shit, how did they do that? But like listening to this album specifically for 4 Years Strong, I got an extra kick out of it because there is the technical aspect, sort of having the back and forth syncopation of the guitars and like the complexity of it. Kind of listen to that being like I listen to this album. There's a bunch of times where I was like, oh, there's no way they actually do this and like play this and sing at the same time. And then I remember going to see them at Warped Tour, and it's like, no, they do the whole thing all at once. So it's like they.
So they all sing and play, like they all. None, there's no just like lead singer. Like
No, the two dudes singing, they're both playing the guitar the whole time,
six guitars, and the
and
bass fucking standing there going like,
nah, bass is just chilling. He might do like a backup yell or something here and there.
oh yeah.
But no, I remember seeing them because this was all listening to them was also around the time when I was going to Warped Tour a bunch. So I actually, because of Warped Tour, I ended up seeing them a bunch of times live, and they're very impressive live, being able to do stuff like that. But just having that, the part that really stuck out to me, like I said, was the like, while still being a pretty true to form pop punk band, the overall technical nature of their stuff was always so goddamn catchy. And then it was like, being able to listen to like a fast pop punk album and then throwing in, because there's a lot of bands that like around this time and then in response to stuff like this, they were all like obscure bands that would have a cool part and you'd kind of like they would never, you could tell that they were kind of catching onto a wave. So for the life of me, I can't remember fucking half of them.
Yeah.
But like there were a bunch of these bands where they thought the formula was just do a fucking pop punk song, and then throw a breakdown in there somewhere.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. That's like that was a big Warped Tour thing for a while. Huge Warped Tour thing.
yeah, and the thing about 4 Years Strong, and I keep saying this album specifically, because did you happen to listen to any of their other stuff or just this album?
Well, it started playing another song at the end of it one time or whatever, and it sounded good. It sounded about the, I mean, but it wasn't. I didn't really delve into too much. I wanted to focus on this one more
Well,
because
so
I felt like every time I listened to it, I did get something else out. Like I was like, oh shit, this kind of reminds me. Like I said, one time I listened to it. The first time I listened to it, the thing it reminded me of most is what I'm going to be suggesting, just as a spoiler, because I wanted to go with my heart on this. My first gut reaction: what does this? What feeling does this make me feel? Because that's kind of what we're going with, right? We're kind of going with how each of these
yeah,
things are, like, how they connect with each other, like each album
yeah,
connect with each other in our lives and kind of thing, and like how it affected us, what we think about it, blah 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 blah. But the next time I listen to it, I'm like, holy shit. And by the way, these bands don't sound anything like the other band. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's crazy that each time I listen to it, I might get a little bit more easy, but then another time I might get a little bit more core. You know what
yeah, and
I mean?
that goes back to like the real technicality of all these songs is
Yeah.
you get a little bit more every time. Um,
It's
I
not as
found
simple. It's not as simple as like pop punk. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's not as like it's not super duper complex, like on the surface. It is like, if
yeah,
you don't
that's like
actually give it a couple listens, it's like you're like, holy shit, you're like, oh my god, this is actually like, there's more to this. It's not just your normal like,
yeah,
come
it's
on
like
everybody get up. You
that's
know,
like the best that's like the best way to put it, where if you just kind of like throw it on in the car, you're like sitting there like, yeah, there's some catchy fucking tunes.
yeah.
And then but if you like really sit there and want to put the headphones on and be a nerd about it, you're like, oh fuck, what the fuck are they playing right there? Like like the one thing that stuck out to me, and we got a question in the chat, and I'll get to it in a hot minute, but the one thing that stuck out to me, I forget which song it was. Oh, it's one of the singles off the album. Heroes Get Remembered, Legends Never Die, I think it is.
Hmm.
It's it's like the fourth or fifth song, and if you kind of just, it's one of those songs that if you just kind of like let it play, it just sounds like they're singing some catchy stuff. And you know, you might just expect that they're just strumming on the guitar, but if you like really sit there and listen to it, on the fucking like verses of
Mhm.
a song, is they're doing these little, like, just little back and forth technical things on the guitar that
Yeah.
are like subtle yet complicated. And it's great because I think we talked about it when we were talking about Norma Jean. I brought up Under Oath, and although he's a very talented drummer, I don't love their drummer because he reeks of like try-heartedness. And bands can do that a lot, where they're just trying to be like they're trying to do too much. And this, like the stuff they're doing when you just need this much to be a pop punk band, and they're
Yeah.
doing this much during the song, but it doesn't. That's the other part of it. It all sounds very necessary. It all fits in. Like we were saying before, if you pay close attention, you get one thing. If you kind of zone out, you get another thing. It all works. And just I don't know, man. Just stuff like that level of like musicality and that level of thought. Because like I said, as a musician, I've been in bands. I've helped write songs and stuff like that. I like look at that and I go, I wish I could do that too. I have no fucking clue how they write those songs.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Um,
And that's the thing, is like, how do you even think of that kind of that that structure, or that whatever it may be? And then also, how can you fucking do that? Like, it also is kind of, as a person, you're like, how'd you think of it? But also, like, how are you actually doing that? And also all this other stuff. Like, but
yeah, and that
what was the question? Or you said there was a question?
Oh yeah. Oh, and that's sorry, one
Sorry.
last thing, but you just made me think of this. That's the same reason why I like Every Time I Die so much,
Mhm.
is because I listen to their music and I go, how do you fucking how do you write this stuff?
It's not the yeah, it's not the most, it's not always the most complex shit, but it's also like, how did you do that? And then when you try to play it, you're like, wait, what? how did you even just come up on that? Like,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
also the timing signature, like the time changes, the time, like, oh, it's fucking beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah. The question was easy core is a term I just heard, but they said a day to remember is part of it. Agree? I think it did you ever listen to Day to Remember?
Are they the one that have I don't know if they're all time low or if all time low is a day to the remember is a day to remember the one that has a da 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 da
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's them.
yeah. I don't know. They're more of the. I would have to say yeah, probably.
Did you,
Wait.
that's like the funniest thing you've ever said. Wait, a day to remember. Are they all time low? The fuck are you talking about?
That was an honest question. Apparently, I didn't realize that was even funny.
And then you go, oh wait, is all time low a day to remember? I'm like, how in the fuck could I answer that, Pat?
Are they the same thing? Is that like a synonym? Is that what that is? 2 words for the same thing.
It's fucking insane.
Shots fired. Bah, 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 bah. Take that, both bands. If you are 2 bands.
Yeah, I would say like that song "Downfall of Us All." That's the da 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 da. That one I would kind of categorize as easy core because
Core in it.
because the breakdowns and sort of the pop punk parts flow in and out. But at the same time, they have some legitimate songs that are like they have some songs that are legitimate pop songs.
Yes.
And then they have some songs that are just front to back aggressive metal songs.
That's the band. Okay, so that's the one I'm thinking of. That's
all time low.
Yes, maybe.
Oh, they're a day to remember is Rihanna. I forgot.
Oh. Yeah, all time low is the one that I'm thinking of. No, a day
to remember. Yeah.
Jesus Christ. That's the one where like they do have like because somebody was trying to sell me on them. I think once.
They're
They were
pretty
like,
good.
They're like, I think you'd really like. It wasn't you, I know for sure, because there's somebody saying like, no, like because they were saying like they have some songs that are just like you would like them, and I'm like, why would I like it? Why would I pick a band if I only like some of their songs?
No,
like
here's
like, that's
why
a
you
terrible way to sell them to me. You would like some of their songs.
Here's why you might like. There's gonna be a day to remember song that gets you because
I like that one.
while they're very talented and they make very good music, they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
They know like, oh, we're going to put the cool breakdown here and then we're going to throw in a 2-step part and then I'm not going to say they're paint by numbers because like too many bands try to sound like them for them to be, but like they have a not so much anymore because legitimately if you listen to some of the stuff they've put out in the past year or two, it is legitimate like horseshit pop music. Like it's insane. They went from like dun 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 and then like type lyrics to literally computerized drums and synth and like it's crazy. And I don't mean to be shitty. I love A Day to Remember. It is insane how horseshit pop they turned.
That's why I feel like this is nice core or easy
core.
All right, easy core. That's why I had to write it down. Easy core. That's why that is. I feel like it is definitely a spectrum, because who else uses fucking those same techniques? Sky Eats Airplane. Are they easy core?
It's more about the no.
Andy, now you're on the stand, pal. Right?
They're not.
Oh. Okay. Asked and answered.
Well, I think so. The easy core genre honestly didn't last long because I think it is truly, and this I hope this doesn't come off as pretentious because it's really stupid to be pretentious about pop punk music. But I feel like it's hard to what?
I think it's impossible.
I think I might get shot, and deservedly so. But no, because like no, there's a lot of bands that they'll be the pop punk band that has a breakdown, or they will be the hardcore band that has a sing-songy chorus.
Yeah.
But like the way, and there's another thing I kind of want to get into as well about the sound of 4 Year Strong that's why I asked you if you'd listen to other stuff, because I keep saying this album specifically, but like the way this album, like the songs are doing two things at once and are still just sounding like that's how it's supposed to be. It's not like, oh, we know we're getting a breakdown later. It's like, no, this is just how it sounds. We have the upbeat guitar riffs with the double bass and the chuggas and all this, but it's all goes in and working together. And I think that's what kind of makes it. And here's the thing.
You're very in the moment like that.
Yeah. Well, no, but here's the problem. A lot of kids that want to play pop punk music, they're not bad at their instruments, but they're not overly proficient to the point of being able to play metal music.
Yeah.
So, and the guys in metal bands that can play like this, they don't want to play pop punk music. So you're just inherently, because of those things, you're not gonna. That's why like a lot of punk bands, you don't hear guitar solos all the time.
Yeah, and that's kind of why I figured. Didn't that one guy leave Sum 41 because he wanted to start a fully metal band or whatever?
Something like that, yeah.
But he left for
And
that.
then they immediately started making horseshit pop punk music.
Whoops.
And then they're like, "Ooh, we better get the guy who wrote the good riffs back."
Yikes. Yeah, I think it's I think there's definitely a lot of consideration, and that each song had a in the moment, like I hate to say it like this way, but like they did sound similar, and a lot of times, like a lot of the songs, because
it definitely has a very consistent vibe that goes in between all the songs.
but there's still enough interesting stuff in there to where it's not boring. Do you know what I mean? Like, it still had my interest. So like it's a great, like, that's one, like, I don't know if I would like more if a lot of their other stuff had the same appeal in sound or whatever. I don't know if I would love it as much.
Well, so here's the interesting thing, and I'll get into this in 1 second. But another question is easycore a style, like dress style? Like if someone said goth, you could picture how someone would dress, and it's like gauge ears, skinny jeans, on big dudes, backwards hats, Vans, and straight edge. Well, you were you were half describing me. So, but that's the other part, and that's why I think we always talk about this, how like the music kind of relates to us. And what?
That's forward, buddy.
That's going forward. But no, like I think, oh, you know what? Because I have a pic. I'll show you a picture because I may still have it on my desktop. But like, if you just see a picture of 4 Year Strong, is this the picture of them? I'm sorry. If
I honestly don't have any of those things. I'm so happy that I don't check any of these boxes.
You don't check any of them?
None of them. I don't have any of that stuff. I haven't. I tried being straight edge for like a month, but I was also like, that's garbage.
I tried being vegan. Tried being vegetarian. I remember in high school, and just did you go through a vegetarian phase?
Nope, I don't think so.
And I tried it and just flat out forgot.
Oh.
Well, because it wasn't like, I remember I worked at a Quiznos. I worked at a Quiznos, and I made myself dinner one night, and I'm like in the middle of biting into like a chicken bacon ranch, and I was like, I was like, oh no! And then as I'm eating it, I'm like, you ain't about this life.
No, not at all. Because you're like, this is delicious. You're like, what? I would have loved it if you took a couple bites and you're like, why is this so fucking good? Oh my God. And you're just taking another bite and you're like, oh my God. And you're like, oh no. It's like a baby cow you're holding. Oh my God. You're just eating a whole baby cow.
I'm just fucking forgetting.
In this Quiznos. Get that cow out of here.
Here, let me bring up the picture for because this is weird, because we're doing Zoom, and to show you I got to do one thing, and to show everyone else I got to do another thing. Here, wait, you said you have the stream up on your phone, right?
Yeah.
Okay, here, I'll bring up a picture of these guys, and then you can look at it on your phone when it comes up on the stream. But like this is a picture of 4 Year Strong, and that basically it's just a bunch of me's. Mm-hmm. It's just a bunch of dudes.
Identify with these guys.
It's just a bunch of dudes with beards and flannel, and like, yes, the skinny jeans that they probably shouldn't be wearing. You know what I mean? It's like, and it's you saw it?
Yeah.
Okay. And it's that's the general look of like that.
Man, I kind of look like those guys too. Like, that's not skinny. I don't see skinny jeans though. They have comfortable jeans.
Yeah, but they ain't loose.
They ain't loose jeans,
They
but they ain't
ain't
skinny jeans.
they ain't no straight leg.
And to be honest with you, Andy, I wasn't really looking at their ears, so I didn't see if they were gauged.
I don't know why that hit different when you said it. No, but gauged ears, not overly gauged, not like
Oh, like pierced, like big old, like a little
yeah,
plastic buggy
not
thing.
like you can beat me till I come gauged, like
Okay, good. Okay,
just like
not
a little bit gauged.
not lead me around the room with these. Not something like
not
that.
not grab them and bring me to your lair gauged.
Okay, I got you now. All
But
right.
yeah, it's that sort of vague like the look is you ever see the dude at the bar who's like he's like sick and he's got a personality, but you know he's just gonna be the funny guy in the warehouse till he dies, like me if I don't succeed. And
like like all of us, like they were probably before they got a record deal. Like, yeah,
yeah, Easy Core's open mic comics.
yeah. Okay, I'll take that. Maybe I'm easy core. I had no idea.
It's like this vague sort of pop punk, because it's like easy core, like it's punk, pop punk, metalcore all pushed into one, so you take all the elements from that
Yeah,
and you make it a thing.
you fucks with it. Like I feel like you fucks with the style, the love of the game, and
Yeah,
I think we can all succeed, just like 4 Years Strong, if we stick together as open mic, as bearded white guys.
bearded
that
white guys that are the
have
funny
no
guys that,
intention have no intentions of harming anyone ever, because we're just a different vein. We're like we're the easy core of cis white males. We're not gonna troll you. We're not gonna shoot up your school.
we're not gonna
We're just gonna place we're gonna perform some art for you. We want to perform our art for you, please, because we have feelings and we want to share them. We want to be better.
we want to, please don't yell at us.
Please
That's
don't yell at us. We're sorry. We're not really sorry, but please don't yell at us.
that's like my don't tread on me flag. Please stop yelling at me.
Please stop yelling. Please stop yelling.
Please stop yelling at me.
Can that be can be somehow a hand motioning down like this, like please stop yelling at me, or motioning out? Please stop.
Please
Yelling.
stop yelling at me. Yes.
Like it.
Oh, and then the other thing about why this album always just sticks out, because like I was saying before, there really isn't a long list. Actually, which, speaking of lists, Hawaiian, I'll send you a link. Hawaiian commented a big long doc of like bands that fit into this genre of like pop punk with like some breakdowns occasionally and this and that. But what was I saying? Oh yeah, the thing that like stuck out about this album the most to me over the years of listening to 4 Years Strong. So 4 Years Strong, after they put out this album, funny enough, they put out a cover album that was really good. Like really, really good. It's called Explains It All. They covered a bunch of like the best 90s songs. And then I swear to God, there was something about doing a bunch of 90s songs, and their music just started shifting to like 90s rock. They never went completely that way. But you just heard over the next like 3 albums, it just started shifting that way. So, and the albums were never, it was this thing of like, the albums were never horrible. They were always good. But when you have the reference point of like, this is why I started listening to you, and then every album gets progressively farther away from that,
Right.
it makes that first album, well, actually, this is technically their second album. This is their first like studio album.
So this is their second album.
Second album, first studio album. Their first one was, well, I guess it's always a studio, but when they say studio, they mean like a good studio. Their first album was like a well-produced demo, essentially.
Okay.
And
So actually, that reminds me of Avenged Sevenfold. That exact story happened to me with Avenged Sevenfold. Their
Really?
first album, I thought was like, it was like whatever. It kind of sounded okay, but like I didn't love it. Their second album, Waking the Fallen, I think is a fucking masterpiece, and I think it's like, it's not only like a great album, but I think it's a great, like one of the greatest albums.
Really?
It really is like it's like as far as like hard rock albums, I think it's fucking it should be up there, considered in the top 50 like all time, I think.
Which one is it again?
Waking the Fallen. It's a
Okay.
fucking great album.
I
Every
remember.
song on it. It reminds that and the number of hits on that album, like the number of like songs that I love from that album reminds me of how much I love like Billy Talent and shit like that. And their longevity is nothing like what happened to Avenged Sevenfold, who took a complete different turn in my opinion and started making shit that I was like, what the fuck is this? Like I was like, what happened? What?
Oh, really?
And not only that, but they openly mocked that album. Making that album, they said like, oh yeah, that was us just fucking around, whatever, that's garbage.
No shit, really?
Yeah, they almost like what is it, what's not face, what's it, heel, right?
Heel turn.
Yeah, they did that. I think they did that because they were also like at the time they were like supporting Bush openly and shit like that. Like there was weird like.
Oh, really?
I think I maybe I'm remembering that wrong. Hold on.
I always I remember listening to music I listened to. People would like, not all the time, but a band like Avenged Sevenfold would be the butt of jokes. And I remember that song Backcountry they had?
Yeah.
That the whole video was like a fuck, what was it?
Yeah, openly supporting support for George W. Bush.
No shit.
Yeah. At the time,
I didn't know that. But yeah, I remember
it's not popular to do that. No. Hey, cool. Maybe that's the more punk rock thing. We've talked about that stuff before.
Yeah.
Like, but yeah, whatever.
I remember hearing Backcountry and being like, I don't know, that song always ripped. And I'm like, if you got one sick song like that, I'm sure you got a couple others. So like I never listened to that much Avenged Sevenfold, but I was like, nah, Backcountry fucking went. So like I'm not gonna shit on them. That song was too good.
And that was the thing is compared to their
Fear and Loathing, that's what it was. Yeah.
Compared to their other in my opinion, Waking the Fallen, compared to that stuff. Like ugh. It's like it doesn't take the like there's like a as much meaning and thought that went into this album, like 4 Year Strong, this one, compared to their other stuff where they just started kind of to diminish. It's the exact like parallel thing as my story with Avenged Sevenfold, and that second album, that's not my album. That's a bonus album. Check if you haven't listened to that album, check out Waking the Fallen.
Yeah,
I feel like you would like that one more than Backcountry.
Well, you piqued my interest
because instead of going this way, instead of going like further, I feel like if you just want one back, I feel like that's the one that you're gonna like more.
Okay,
and
well,
I don't know that.
You piqued my interest, so I want to check it out. But yeah, what I was saying was, yeah, just because, and like I said, all the 4 Year Strong albums are good, but like what got me to the 4 Year Strong party was this album, Rise or Die Trying. And it was this funny thing that like every album they put out, which sidebar, I listened to their newest album, came out this, it was funny. I was actually reading an article. I was trying to look up articles and stuff about this album and stuff. And I ended up finding an interview that they did at the beginning of the year talking about the album that just came out in like February or whatever. And this article is literally posted this year, February like 28th, like the end of February. And the headline is just like 4 Year Strong just puts out new what?
Bright future ahead for 4 Year Strong.
Yeah, they're like 4 Year Strong, ready to get out there and tour. And I'm like, don't get too ready, dude.
Yeah, stay ready, guys.
Dude, that's another sidebar. Not to get into COVID talk, but just go back and just watch video footage from February, and just like watch people who are like, yeah, this is gonna be my year, and you're like, it ain't, dog. You don't even know. And then the other fun one is go to shit from because we all did it, but go to shit from March and just watch people being like, all right, we'll be chilling by summer. And you're like, oh no. But anyway, that's enough COVID talk. This is a music show.
Blow over.
And
I still say that, by the way.
We'll be good by summer.
Yeah, I said, this is all going to blow over in a couple months. Just fucking calm down.
You do have to live in sort of this weird delusion to just I feel like to fucking compartmentalize
Same
everything.
in it now. We're all going to die or everything's going to get better. Either
Well,
way, that's not a threat. That's just a hope.
I called my not a threat. My mom called the other day, and I talked to her for like half an hour. Which a sidebar and a sidebar called me at the beginning of a shit, and my wife goes, Why didn't you just call her back?" And I'm like, "Well, that would have been a smart thing to do, wouldn't it?"
Yeah. Or maybe shoot her a text and be like, hey, I'm taking a shit. I can't talk right now.
Hold up, lady.
Hold up, mom.
But
You
no,
know,
just
remember
it
how
was
you shit me out? Well,
but it was just a lot of like hitting the mute button and then fucking going and then trying to bring it. Yeah, it was a whole ordeal. But no, talking to her and she's asking me, she's like, "So," because I forget what made her think of it, but she finally was curious how I was dealing with not being able to do stand up. And no, my parents,
almost a year in. Hey, yeah, you haven't done that thing you love in a year.
hey, that thing you devote your life to. What's
You still do that?
you probably don't. You still doing do your parents say to you still doing that comedy thing?
That dream thing? No, my mom doesn't ask me about comedy at all. She ever.
Oh, dude, Steph had to make me realize I got overly offended at some like family get together because someone was like, "You still do?" Literally, they go, "You still doing that comedy thing?" And I'm like, "What the fuck did he mean by that?" And Steph's like, they don't know. They don't look at it the same way as you." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." I was like, I was ready to fight that.
That little comedy thing. What do you fucking say the little comedy thing? Oh, you mean my dream, my fucking career that doesn't pay me barely anything at all right now at all?
You mean that thing I devote all my mental energy to constantly because I'm a psychopath?
Our life has kind of been that little kid being interviewed gif. You know what I mean? That little kid that's getting interviewed by the lady and she's just like, hey, blah blah blah. And he's just like, and he just starts crying. Like he's like smiles at first and then he just starts crying. Like that's what like I feel like my experience with 2020 has been.
That's the best. That's one of the best gifts of the
Yeah.
kid just trying to be like, and
Oh, I
then
know I'm going to work, but I can't go to that.
and then breaking down and crying.
I can't go to the movies. Like you know what I mean? Like
The one thing that's hitting me, the one thing that always hits me is when I get to do like an actual stand-up show every fucking 2 months.
yeah.
And like I try to I just don't, because that's what my mom was asking me. She's like, "How are you dealing with it?" I was like, to be honest, I just force myself not to think about it because I don't have a choice. And then when I finally do stand up, I get really, not like cry or anything, but I get really emotional because I'm like, "Oh yeah, this is the best."
You get hyped up, especially when you're like, oh God, thank God I'm still good at this. Like that's my thing. I went for the first lockdown. It went all the way through. I can't remember when exactly the shows were. I think it was in June or July. I think it was June, either June or July. And we went to Virginia. It was actually Lemaire.
Oh yeah, with Jay and Dorian.
Yeah, yeah. And we went there and Dawn came with us because she's like, cool, we get to go on a trip. Nice. You know, even if it's just to Virginia in a hotel room, we had our own hotel room, all that other shit, like mask, all that other bullshit. But like,
Yeah.
I went up there and I was like, I'm going to go from not doing any stand up to doing 25 minutes or 20, whatever it was, 20 minutes. And it was like, oh my God. And like you said, I got emotional. I was just like, but my biggest thing was like a sigh of relief of like, oh, I still know how to do that. Or I'm still good at that. Like
I had the best when speaking of Jay again, who's been on the show before. If you guys don't know who we're talking about, he was on for our only guest. He was on for the Taking Back Sunday, which we will have him again because I do want to talk about the rest of Taking Back Sunday. And Pat said he was game too. And wait,
we can take it back to Sunday. You know what I mean?
We do record these on Sunday. Oh my God.
Hey, oh my God.
Oh, but yeah, so he was putting on a show at the Punchline, and it was me and like 4 or 5 other comics, like just a showcase show. Everyone does like 10. It was like everyone did 10 minutes or some shit like that. You know, it was like yeah, like 6 or 7 comics, 10 minutes, host, ends up being like hour and a half or some shit like that, whatever it was. And I ended up going on last, and they did the fucking thing where it's like we're all doing the same time, but Andy's going last, so it's like, and your headliner for tonight, and you're like, well, we're all doing the same amount of time, and you put unnecessary pressure on my set. And no, I was only supposed to do 10, and I just was waiting for the light. And I don't know if he just was like, Andy's doing good, so it's whatever, or just forgot to light me or whatever.
Yeah,
But I
because
like,
you didn't expect us to have that. Like that clock's still hard to. You gotta work on that a little bit. Like,
oh, I have no sense of time when I'm up there.
ever.
Like vaguely, you know what I mean? Like I've had times where it's like I'm like, well, if you're doing a 5-minute set, you're like, obviously 5 minutes has passed at this point.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, I don't. I just tell people, I go, I know what my closer is, and I know it takes about 3 minutes or so, depending on what I feel like doing. It takes however much time, and I just tell them, I go, yo, light me at 5 minutes or some shit like that. But anyway, and I forgot to say, this was like the first time. This was the first show after quarantine started. I hadn't done stand up for I did one open mic, but besides that, I hadn't done stand up in like over 100 days or some shit like that. It
Yeah.
was wild. And finish the setup. I was like sweating because I'm like, where's the light? I'm running out of material. And I come off, and I just like, and then someone tells me, they're like, oh, Andy, you did like 25 minutes. And I'm like, oh, no shit. So, and I'm not going to say I crushed or anything, but I did the job. And I was like, oh, okay, I can still do the job. And I did 25 minutes and was fine. So I was like, oh, cool. Like, and that, being able to do jokes in front of people, having that feeling, it's just like the best feeling.
Yeah. Like it's a sigh of relief, because it's more of a fear, like that you do have if somebody says, are you doing stand up? Like, if anybody did ask me that question this year, I don't know how to fucking ask that, like, or answer that. You know what I mean? Like, that's like one of those things of like, but it's like
I
not
usually just make the
really
joke.
happening, but it kind of is. But like, I don't know.
I just make the joke. I don't know if it's hack or not, but I go, yeah, whenever people want me to and it's not illegal, I'll do stand up.
Yeah, I mean, it literally is illegal by you.
It's wild. That's like I make that joke. Saying like, yeah, when stand-up's not illegal, but it is technically, there's technically ways to do it, but there is an amount of stand-up comedy right now that is illegal.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, that's wild to think about.
I feel like Lenny Bruce.
Nah, that dude was a fucking G. If you actually, I got there's this great book called The Comedians, and no, was that it? I forget where. I was reading something about Lenny Bruce, and like, bro, they're just waiting. There's just cops waiting there, being like, "Say pussy. We dare you to say pussy," or something like. He was gonna talk about fucking or something like that, and cops are like, "All right, we're bringing it. It's ridiculous."
We do not talk about that. We
No.
all do it,
but we got a little bit sidetracked. Let's end this, but we do have some great bonus material that I want to record. We'll do it live on Twitch, but I want to record a separate video for YouTube for the bonus material, because it's a little bit. I want it to breathe, and I want it separate from this thing. So if you're watching this on YouTube, we got some bonus material. Pat's gonna be talking about. We're having a McRib conversation, and as you know, the McRib is back. Pat had it. I did not.
A McRib revelation as well, because you admitted, you in front of all of us, exposed yourself as a person who has never enjoyed McRib.
Never had the McRib.
Never. So
you will be able to watch Pat's feelings on the 2020 McRib, and then next week at some point I'll give you my feelings about my first ever McRib. So let's wrap it.
Possibly second and third. Let's not count it out.
There is a extreme possibility of that.
It could be like, holy shit, what have I been missing out on? I've been back 4 times. So
let me tell you, McRib number 2, okay. 3 and 4, stellar.
That's when it really started kicking in.
And Hawaiian said, I went on too long of a rant, and I don't know what this was in reference to, but Hawaiian said, sorry, but 5 years strong? I don't know what that means. That probably made complete sense, but
it's probably a great reference to what we were talking about at that time.
Maybe? But Andy likes to yap. So, Pat, general thoughts about this album. Just to wrap up this episode?
Good. I like it. And I didn't
Yeah.
mean to high talk it. I meant to say it's good. I didn't want to go, it's good. It's good. It's good.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. And yeah, for me, definitely if you have not checked this out, well, if you're 50 minutes in, you've listened to this album. So
Yeah.
keep on listening. Oh, I will say to end it all, because I actually didn't listen to it that many times because one, it's kind of like Taking Back Sunday. I haven't really stopped listening to it since
Yeah.
I heard it in college. I've probably listened to it a couple times every single year since I heard it the first time. And just immediately I realized how much I was listening to it. And then it just like shot me back there, and I was like, oh yeah, I remember all this shit. So it was a great album. Definitely go check it out again if you guys haven't listened to it recently.
This is perfect because this brings me to exactly what my album suggestion is for our next show, Andy.
All right, hit me with it.
What do you know about Reggie and the Full Effect?
Ooh, I know. Oh wait, no, not much. I know they got compared to early Bomb the Music Industry because it's one guy, right?
Yes, it is one guy, James Dewey's. He's from I'm not a fan of this band necessarily, but he's he was a band member of the Get Up Kids.
Really?
Yes, he was one of the original Get Up, one of those kids, and
one of the boys,
one of those kids, and then
one of the kids that got up.
So I will say this. This album, the first gut reaction that I got, especially when the keys started coming in early on, and one of the songs, it started to remind me of his album in particular. That is exactly the same scenario as what you were just talking about with this album.
Really? Okay.
Where you have listened, you've basically haven't stopped listening to it since it came out. Like at least a couple times every year, you listen to this album. It's in like a couple of songs are even on the playlist. So I suggest Reggie and the Full Effects, Songs Not to Get Married To.
Hell yeah. Good thing I'm already married.
Oh, so you're going to get, let me just a little, hold on.
Wait. No, just after that joke, I'm sorry. I'm out of here.
Hi, Andy. Andy killed himself. Now it's What About with just Pat.
What about my new host?
With blank and Pat. Like I still put somebody before me. Andy, can we still use your Twitch stream?
You still use my feed.
So no, I
Hawaiian's excited about Reggie and the Full Effect. He'll be here next week.
I will say this in particular. You're gonna get comedy. You're gonna get there's like jokes in it. There's joke songs.
I like the album cover.
There's the song, those like especially the sketches in it. Like when they say
oh, we got sketches. Is this an early 2000s rap album?
I'm telling you, it's not unlike that. There's basically the sketches are basically white trash talking to each other about how good a person was, how good of a mom this lady was, but she loved to smoke crack. And she's just like it's fun. It's an entertaining fucking album from start to finish. But there's songs that fucking rip. There's songs that are gonna make you laugh. There's a song called Love Reality that my a good friend of mine, Elliot, when his girlfriend would come home and pass out drunk. She was in college at the time when they were living near the campus or whatever. He was living with her near campus or whatever. And she would come home wasted sometimes, and he would wake her up the next morning a lot of times playing Love Reality and basically just thrusting in her face like to wake her up. And
he's like, I do not love this reality.
Yeah, she didn't love the reality at all. But it's a very the story about James Dewey's and Reggie and the Full Effect is very interesting. He has other bands that he is also all of the members of. He does go on tour with a band.
Yeah.
And like obviously he can't do all the stuff alone or whatever, but he does still play keys and sings. And he opens up, much like Guar will sometimes open up for himself as these other bands that play these songs on these albums, like Love Reality and stuff like that. So he has kind of a pop song, a pop
Wait, what?
band. It's just listen to
You
it.
know
It's
what? Let's
fucking
get
awesome.
into it on the next episode.
It's,
You're gonna have to prep yourself and break this down for me.
I'll have it all on the paper.
Okay. Fuck yeah, dude. I'm excited. No, well, so the reason I love doing this show is, one, talking about music, and all that, but every band you suggest so far, yeah, pretty much every band you've suggested, I've been like, oh man, I've been meaning to check them out.
Yeah, same with you. Like they're bands that I either have somehow navigated my whole life without and not on purpose. Usually, like I said, Taking Back Sunday was nothing personal. I just
Yeah,
never
you just
fucked with
never
it.
did. Reggie and the Full Effect, I don't know why.
Yeah.
I've known about them since they came out.
It's probably a name thing because you're like one of those things. Is that like a funk band or something?
Well,
What's going
you
on
know what
here?
it is too, because
I would check.
I'm looking at their Spotify, and they were big in the early 2000s. And you
Yeah.
got to think, when did Spotify come out?
Like 2 years ago. I don't know.
Fucking
That's when I started using it.
May, right?
Yeah, whatever.
No,
When the
before.
pandemic start.
That's when I got it. That's when I got
When Joe Rogan signed that contract, Andy, that's when Spotify started.
You're right. One to the big man. I put it. I sent it to to Texas, not heaven.
Oh yeah, forgot.
You gotta aim it at Texas. No, no. You know what I think it was? Because whenever Spotify back in the day, I knew about a million of these bands, but I had to go buy the physical album. So, like, if I looked up, I remember reading about Reggie and the Full Effect, and I'm like, they're probably good, but I only got money for, like, one album this week, so I'm going to buy the next Sum 41 album.
Right. Yeah, you're gonna go with what you know already. And like I said, if you didn't sell me on the song that you put on or the record label decided to put on for you on whatever compilation I was listening to,
Yeah.
then that's not on me, bro. Like
If
you
your
gotta sell
album,
me on it.
yeah, if your song, yeah, we got to do an episode just about, like, Warp Tour or record label fucking.
We can do Punkorama series. If we ever get a Patreon, we should do compilation. We should do compilation albums. I'll do all the Punkoramas. I'll do all the Fat Records compilations.
Yeah, that'd be so fucking tight. Oh, here, I'm on the Wikipedia. Spotify, a foreigner made this because it founded on 23 April 2006. Yuck.
We put the fucking.
I know it makes more sense, but I don't know why. It's just month, day, year, you fucking idiots.
Sometimes you get it right, but speak American.
Yeah. That's like one of the most American feelings I've ever had, where you're like, it's so weird how they do their dates. And then I saw someone go like, yeah, why don't you do the smallest to the biggest, day, month, year? And I'm like, that makes so much sense, but it's still stupid as fuck.
Shut up.
Shut the fuck up. But
Spotify.
Spotify was founded in 2006. So, and I guarantee you I didn't get on that till like 2010 or later. So yeah, so like when any of this music was coming out, you had to get the fucking albums or the mixtapes or whatever it does. All right, well, I'm really excited for Reggie and the Full Effect because, like I said, I've never listened to them, and it was always meant to. And then also, the band, I already know who I'm suggesting for next week.
Oh, really?
I was listening to them last night, and I know you're gonna know them, but I'm so excited because it's just gonna be fun. I'm so hyped.
Hell yeah. I mean, what about an ending for the show? What should we do?